All right. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad you are watching us. Welcome to Afrique 24 TV. This is your home where you get some political talk. This is your home where you get some economical advice. And at the same time, it is the home where you get all the news across Africa. We are actually connecting the entire Africa from wherever you are, whether you are in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, or you are in Europe, America, or Australia. So this is a place that makes you feel home. Karibuni sana, na wakati mnajiunga nasi hakikisha kuwa umekaribisha mwingine na muweze kujiunga pamoja. Like, share with your friends so that we can be able to join and watch together. Today is a special day. Today is a day that we are not going to talk politics. Today is a day that we are not going to discuss matters religion or matters our culture. But this is the day that all of you have been waiting. And I can tell you, finally, we kept on promising you, but finally, siku imefika. Tumejaribu kufinyilia, lakini mwishowe imefika. Leo ni ile siku, wacha nikuonyeshe. Welcome once again. Ensure that you like and you tell us wherever you are following us from. Hakikisha umetype hapo kwa comment section, utuambie kuwa wewe ni nani na unatufuatilia ukiwa wapi. I'll be able to read your comments and kindly ensure you also like the video. I can see Martin Swale Mushira already ashafanya bele like video. So as you like the video, also invite others. Today, you can see I have a special visitor that I'm going to introduce to you shortly. I'm having Engineer Florence Mora. Shortly, nitampatia nafasi na atajitambulisha, then atakuambia ni kwa nini amekuja hapa leo. Amekuja hapa kwa ajili yako. Kwanza kabisa, wacha nikuchezee video moja kidogo, alafu nikwambie kwa nini nimecheza hilo kanda na ni kwa nini tuko na Engineer Florence Mora hapa. And I can tell you, after watching this show, your life will not be the same again. After watching this show, there are some mistakes that maybe you've made that you'll not make them again. After watching this show, you're going to help your friend, your relative, or your brother somewhere who is almost going to fall into the trap. So karibuni sana na muweze kukaribisha wengine. Niko na wageni wengi leo sana. So shikilia tu hapo. Hivi karibuni tutaanza mazungumzo yetu na kila mtu atatoka hapa na habari njema ambayo ukienda kuambia jirani au rafiki, na yeye pia atasema kuwa kumbe hii show inatusaidia. Hebu tutazame hii kwa.
Day 4 of the Mavoko demolitions and the structures that stood majestically on this contested land continued to be reduced to a rubble. Occupants of the houses equally decrying their losses.
Nyumba ndio hii imeporomoka. Na kisha mwenye amebomoa anabomoa na madharau.
We never knew that this was coming. There was no notice that was given for us for eviction.
But underneath the lamentations and despair, those who spoke to NTV paint a different picture of the ongoing demolitions. The Aimi Malu Kenya Society, the alleged seller of the disputed land, is now at the center of the storm.
Now, the owners of the houses being demolished here in Mavoko say that the members of that society that sold them the pieces of land here are at large. But when the members are reachable, their responses are unsatisfactory.
The society is still there, the office is still there, but right now you cannot access anybody because the officials, every official that you call, you try to call, they tell you that that's why hold on, there's something we're working on it.
According to the residents, no title deed was offered to them. Additionally, a resident who spoke to NTV on anonymity intimates that there could be a link between area politicians and the society's owners.
Politicians have their own people who came and had this land divided, subdivided the land and sold to people who have no history here.
Hii kiwanja ilikuwa ya kutoa kitambo, inasemekana ni za Portland shamba, sawa, lakini politics kaingia ndani, ikakuwa sasa mimi pale ile mashamba, kama kuna mtu ameshika shamba hapo, hiyo ni yake, kwa hivyo unipatie kura na mjue hii shamba ni lakini sasa hivi vile mambo imeenda mrama, yabadilika.
NTV gathers that a majority of the people who settled here are from other parts of Kenya and all the way from DRC, and had no idea that the land ownership was disputed.
Go down there and see if there's anyone from this area who has stayed here for about 20 years who has a land here. No. And even if you acquire, the first thing was to sell it immediately. The politician would tell you, don't stay longer with it. Sell it immediately, dispose it immediately.
As more questions arise over the role of area politicians in the settlement,
watu wa chama Wiper watoke nje na wakodem. Ni wao wameanzisha, wakaenda wakachukua their supporters, wakaingia East Africa land, wakagrab na wakauzia investors. Mara mingi tumeona mkuu na mkutano hapo, mkiwaambia mtawatetea watoki. Mlikuwa mnawatetea shamba ya nani?
The leadership of the Aimi Malu Kenya Society has accused the government of misinterpreting the judge's orders, saying they would appeal since the order had not granted the government the leeway to demolish their houses. And the blame game continues.
The company, East African Portland Cement, was going around there telling people the truth. But people didn't want to be told, because there are those cartels, those brokers who are going around telling people, this is a lie, don't believe them. We have already been given this land, it's already now ours, that is offer. So, and instead of now sitting down and listening and know the truth, people ignored.
Sydney Tazima, NTV.
All right. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for following, and thank you so much for liking and watching. Oh, Haron, it is buying land in Kenya. Thank you so much. I've already changed it. Good year. It's nice seeing you. Karibu sana. Na hakikisha kuwa umekaribisha wengine. Namuona pale Saligeti Egon Wesley from Nandai Sugutek. Hiyo jina ni gumu. Karibu sana. Embu tuko tune, tuko na Martin Swale Mushira pale. Karibu sana. Hakikisha kuwa you like the video, you share the video, and you subscribe to the channel if you've not done so, and invite others to subscribe too. After seeing this video, wadau wa Kenya wenzangu, the current problem that we are having in this country is land. And I know from wherever you are, the problem that we are having at a family level, at a community level, at the county level, or even at the national level, is the problem of land. You'll find that people fight at the family level, people hate each other, people plan evil and even harm each other because of land. So land is so precious, land is so complicated that if you don't look at it carefully, you'll find that it is the source of evil that we are currently seeing. And if you see even the current president has been named Arap Mashamba, it tells you how important this thing called land is. And because of that importance, people sometimes fail to do some due diligence, so people sometimes fail to understand how they need to approach issues land. And that is why today I'm glad that I'm having some guests who are going to take us through one-on-one how to take care of this thing called land. Everybody, wherever you are, everybody has got a dream of owning land. It never satisfies. Even if somebody gives an acre today, the next day you'll want an extra acre. So people end up buying acres and acres of land. Then after spending the rest of their money, when they come back now they want to invest, then they find that this land that they were buying, kumbe ilikuwa ni hot air. So don't wait to reach the Supreme Court, or don't wait to reach the court so that they tell you that this land was not there, this land was hot air. So today we are trying to solve that. So kwa wageni wenye tuko nao hivi karibuni tunaenda kuanza mazungumzo, tayarisha maswali, and you can send your questions directly on the comment section. You can also email our email Afrique24HoursTV so that we can be able to read your questions. So ask any question that you want to know, and ensure that you engage our visitors so that you benefit. And remember, this kind of services that you're going to get here, if it is not at Afrique24, then you'll have to pay some amount of money called consultation fee. so that they can be able to tell you what is happening. So this is the only opportunity that you're going to get, Engineer Florence Mora. This is the only opportunity that you're going to get, Mr. James, to give you answers and solutions for free. But immediately the show ends, if you call their contacts, or indeed I know they're going to leave their contacts here, they'll have to charge you consultation fee. So karibuni sana wadau, tunawapenda na ndio kwa maana tunahakikisha tukisonga mbele, tunasonga mbele kwa pamoja ili tusiache mtu hata mmoja nyuma. Kwa haraka sana, wacha nimtambulishe Engineer Florence Mora ambayo ni geomatic engineer and geomapping specialist. Ataweza tu kutuambia jina na tuambie yeye ni nani na anafanya nini, alafu ashikilie hapo akingojea maswali yenu. Karibu sana Engineer Florence. Jioni ya leo, asubuhi au ni mchana, kulingana na mahali watazamaji wanatupata. I know people are watching us from different corners of the country. There are some people who are in Kenya, there are some who are in Africa, there are some who are in Europe, some in America and in Australia. So all are Kenyans, all are Africans, and they want to learn from you today. So kindly, maybe in a few minutes, just introduce yourself, tell us something about yourself, then we move on. Karibu.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Nyabai. I appreciate your introduction even into this show today. Yeah, my name is Engineer Florence Mora. I am right now in the United States of America, and here is a few minutes past 2 p.m. I know different people because they are in different zones. It may be a different time. And in Kenya, I know it's at night. So people who have just given themselves to listen to us, ongera, because maybe people should be asleep, but they have decided to hear what we have. So I am in America right now, but I've been in Kenya for like many years. I came to the United States of America in 2020. And I was in Kenya working with the Ministry of Lands, Survey Department for like 30 years, since 1991. And I have really known what is all about land. And I never transferred for those 30 years. I was in Survey of Kenya headquarters. And I have been in college and learned about digital surveying. I've learned about land mapping and how all types of land can be purchased, how it can be transacted. And so I have a lot. I have a lot to share concerning land, because you can imagine like the whole of my life, I have been under the Ministry of Lands. So expect to know much, and you know, knowledge is power, and power can drive anything, because power is a driving force. And so when you have that knowledge, you can be able to put it into use, and then you can be able to be helped. So we are just here that we may be able to bring to light, and so that someone can be helped, someone who is about to do a mistake that we regret, we can be able to help each other. So thank you so much for tuning in to watch. And I know after this show, there's so much that you'll have learned, until maybe you'll want another show and another show and another show, because land has got a lot to be discussed. Thank you so much. I appreciate.
Thank you so much, Engineer Florence. Utanikubalia leo ni kuite Mama Land, because 30 years is not a joke, having done the same thing, and that is how people get specialized. I understand somebody is doing like 10 things, so there's nothing you specialize in, but if you've done the same thing those years, those ones are enough for you to get the ground experience that is needed. You are not only talking of things that you learned, but you talk of things that you dealt with in reality. Pokea salamu kutoka kwa Teacher Charles. Teacher Charles ni vile hajatuambia ako wapi. James Odede pia anauliza kama kwetu kuna stima. James Odede tuliambiwa you also have to have something, lazima ukwenda some option B. Sasa zile Kenya Power wameamua kufanya vile, tunakuanga na sola ama una charge ukijipanga. Hii maisha mahali imefika ni kujipanga. Kama hujajipanga, ndiposa tunapangwa. Brother Benson Media is also saying that he will be inviting you soon. Brother Benson is also having a certain media. I think he is based in America too, so he'll be inviting you too, because this issue of land is an issue that is affecting everybody. Wherever you go, a day will not end without people talking of land. So karibuni sana wale wanajiunga nasi. Kikisha kuwa umekaribisha wengine so that you don't watch alone. Let me take this opportunity to recognize and invite James Njoroge, who is also the head of Kenyan Mission, to introduce himself, atuambie tu yeye ni nani na hii mambo ya land anaijua vipi, alafu tutaweza kuendelea na show. Karibu Mr. James.
Need to mnanisikia sasa? You hear me now?
Yes, you are loud and clear. Proceed.
All right, thank you. Yes, my name's James Njoroge na ni mchungaji pia. Ni Mkenya asili kabisa, kuzaliwa na kulelewa. So I understand mambo ya shamba. Right now, I'm dealing with the shamba issue. In fact, there is a meeting going on was going on this afternoon in Kenya at 2 at Limuru with my people, and they had to ask for my permission because I'm the only anchor remaining. And they were going to meet with the chief, and they were told, you cannot meet here as children without your anchor's permission. So I gave them my permission. So we are right on the issue. Otherwise, my name's Reverend James Njoroge. I'm actually in America. I'm so glad that we have been able to get a friend, Engineer Florence, who is also a minister and also an engineer. And let me also say that I've been here for a while in the US. And one of the things I've been experiencing, because I'm in the leadership of Kenyans here in America in a number of areas. We have a large organization here in America which has chapters almost in every state called Kenya Christian Fellowship in America. And that's a very large group. And we have just started a chapter in Nairobi, because some of our people who are here in America, who are members of the organization, have returned home, and they were missing the organization here and the fellowship. So we gave them a go ahead and start a chapter for themselves over there. So one of the things that we have been dealing with, even in that fellowship, is people complaining about issues of land, and especially people who are here and they are not able to return to Kenya on and off to be able to take care of the land they have. And some of the issues they have raised are part of why this forum came up. And we want to thank the Freak B24 for taking up the matter and even airing this issue right now, and even having an engineer with us who was just doing her own work. And by God's grace, we got connected through a forum, and I got to know her a little bit more, and also knew her background. And lo and behold, we got a man who is in the media, a friend of ours called Nicholas Odhiambo, also in the media, a good friend of ours who is such a good man. I introduced him to my church, and now he is in the media in the church also. And now we got to know how potential he is. And he also has now introduced us to Afrique 24. So thank you, Bwana Coordinator. You're doing a very good job. I think you're very friendly, you're very kind, and we thank you for having us.
Thank you so much to the ones who are joining us now. Those are some of the voices that you're going to listen to. We are going to listen to people who are not only going to give us the legal framework and give us the procedures that are involved when you want to buy land in Kenya, but these are going to be honest voices. These are going to be honest voices. They are people who are not driven by money. They are people who are not in that profession so that they can be able to get paid, but they are honestly going to give us the advice that is needed. So if you've not joined, kindly, I will really advise you to join. Ongeza volume, become, take a book and a pen, then note down what is going to be discussed. Meanwhile, you can be sending us your questions so that they can be able to respond to the question. There are some of the questions that you've always wanted answered, but if you go there, consultation fee inakusumbua. Hii ni kama ile tunasemanga free medical consultation. Ile siku tunasema leo ni siku tumeleta free medical exercise, tunapima watu macho, tunapima watu masikio, tunapima watu mapua bure. So usikose kuuliza swali hapa. Manake kama hujauliza swali hapa, utalipishwa kwingine kuuliza swali. Just to start with the Engineer Florence, you said you've been in survey for 30 years. Some of my viewers have just been hearing the word survey. When they want to buy land, there are these brokers, they come to them wanawambia kuna survey, but they've never understood what survey is. For me, when I was growing, I happened to go to school in Nairobi, a place called Badare. There was a stage called survey. When you leave Allsops, before you reach the NYS, there's a stage called survey. So can you just kindly tell us, what is this survey? When somebody talks of land survey, what does it entail? And at what point is somebody supposed to do a survey?
Yeah. Survey of Kenya is a department under Ministry of Lands. Ministry of Lands has got departments like physical planning, lands is a department, and then we have Survey of Kenya. The Survey of Kenya is situated exactly where you have said, between Utalii College and they are near Allsops in the middle. There is where we call Survey of Kenya headquarters. That is where during the colonial time, that's where Survey of Kenya was situated and is there up to now. This is where all the records to deal with land are kept. So Survey is a custodian of all the land registry records, everything that is dealing with land, because even we have those information before land was demarcated. It is there. Before the colonial time, before they left, all that documentation is in Survey of Kenya. So the surveying of land, once land is surveyed or once land is demarcated, there is that record that has to be made. So there are files, there are records, there are information, there are maps, there are figures, there are photographs. So all of them are under the custody of Survey of Kenya, which is headed by a director known as Director of Surveys, and is answerable to the CS in the Ministry of Lands.
Oh, that sounds great. And maybe a question that maybe a quick one that somebody might be wanting to know, who can do maybe land survey? I want to buy land. Who is authorized to do for me a survey and tell me, okay, this land belongs to this person, this land is found in this area, blah, 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 blah. Is there anybody authorized to do survey, or anybody selling land can do a survey?
No.
Bwana Coordinator, probably before that, sorry for cutting you short, maybe Engineer Florence could have told us, what was your position in the survey? That's part of the credential of her speaking, because some people could say alikuwa tu ni karani hapo karani hapo anazungumza nini ajui. So I think it's probably good to, what was your position, and in those latter years were you just a casual mkazi hapo, au ulikuwa mnapika chai, unapikia wakubwa chai nini na mambo kama haya? So tell us a little bit as your credentials in probably in 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
If it is okay with
No, it's okay. It's really good, and I like that, and that is why you say today I'm having some wonderful guests. I'm having some wonderful guests that are going to do some honest work. They are going to feed us. So even me, where I am, I'm also learning. There are so many things that I need to know. My age still allows me to invest in buying land, so I'm not that old. So I need to get a lot of this so that I don't do mistakes there.
Okay.
Please proceed, engineer.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I also, as I proceed, I wanted to say that maybe as we give what we are talking about, what is this that we are unlocking, is when now we will come up with the questions of, what is this and what is that? Because if we answer questions, then we are not able to introduce like the topic. What is it? What is it? What is the dilemma? And really, is there a dilemma, or we are making a dilemma?
Continue.
Otherwise,
Continue, actually.
I am an engineer from geomatic. I am a geomatic engineer from Jomo Kenyatta University, and my position was a principal cartographer who had digital mapping information. A cartographer is someone, after a surveyor has gone to land to get information from the land, for land, that is, he gets the coordinates, the figures. Then the figures have to be translated into a graphic, into a map that somebody will be able to read and understand. So I was heading that department of map making in Kenya. So although I know survey, I can do land survey, because geomatic engineering entails doing the land surveying and also doing the aerial survey in the air and also doing the mapping. So it is 3 in 1 when you talk about geomatic engineering. So I was not making tea, but I used to take tea that is made in the office. And I have been there for all those 30 years, and that is exactly what I was doing. So as I've said, I want to introduce this topic of a dilemma in Kenya. And as I say, I've worked in that department for 30 years, and I could see how people could come to survey of Kenya even before the decentralization of information, because later on, information was taken, like us who come from Nyanza, it was taken to Kisumu and the other headquarters where it was distributed. But before, everybody was coming to survey of Kenya. And I learned that people are in a dilemma. People have issues to deal with land and they don't have information. So when we talk about unlocking, it's actually giving the information that I have concerning land in different areas, which each one of you may be identifying it with, and then we are able to come out with solutions. What do we do if in case this is that? Because that dilemma could be, maybe you have purchased a piece of land and that piece of land yet doesn't have a title. Maybe you have a family land and that land is not yet distributed to the family, those who are inheriting the land. Maybe you have your dad passed on or died, kabla hajawapatia shamba. What are you supposed to do? Maybe you want to buy land either in the urban area or in the rural area, but you don't know what to do. How do you know what is the genuine land? What are you going to do? we'll also address the issue of the types of land that we have, so that we don't just buy land, we don't know whether this is this type of land or this is this type of land. And then the information of after you have bought land, what next? So we are going to actually unlock what is this that is hidden behind land, because we have to be on land. And even the Bible says that we occupy. So what are you occupying? You see the video that we just saw. People have been there for years, and then a bulldozer, which can even crush you, just comes and you cry, and you cannot cry anymore, but it's over. Where do you follow? What do you do? What did you do right that has come to that? And so if we are going to engage ourselves in this, I may not be able to give 100%, but at least the knowledge I'm sure of 30 years in Kenya, I don't want to die with that knowledge. If somebody is able to be helped, because I tried when I was in Kenya, but in a small way, because I don't want it to bring a conflict between my work and what I'm doing. But I used to feel in my heart that this is wrong, this is not right. I wish somebody was informed, somebody could not do this. And I remember sometimes somebody could come into my hands. I give the right advice, but somebody goes for the wrong advice. Why? Because the majority win. So me, I remain, I'm like, oh, don't go to Florence office. If you go to our office, she will mislead you. So I am here today to say, I'm not charging you to say this information, but I'm just going to help where I can, so that somebody does not suffer when we are there and we have this knowledge. It cannot help me if I don't give you this knowledge. I have a lot of cases I feel that I was able to salvage. I was able to help someone unlock, like titling, someone whose land has been grabbed. We revoke the title. And that is maybe a drop in the sea, because it's not easy to come across everybody. So maybe you meet someone in the corridor. There's this lady I met whose husband had died. And this lady was in UK. So when she went to bury the husband, she left and came back to UK, and somebody said, okay, give me the documents. I will help you to transfer to your name all the property. And she handed over to someone she trusted. And this person took this document, changed them to his name. So now I met this lady in Survey of Kenya corridors, and she was literally crying. She was the age of my mother. I asked her, what is the problem? And then she explained to me, and you know what? I told her, you are going to be helped. And do you know, she got back her land. She got back her land. So when I say that, that's just one example. There are many people in 30 years whom I just came across and I helped. How much more in this wonderful channel called Africa 24? How much more are you going to learn? And how many people that we are going to help who are under our voice? How many? So many. I may be far, you may feel, oh, she's in America, but I am connected. For 30 years, I know where I can tell you, go here, and you are going to be helped. I can be one-on-one. You can call me and you tell me, this is my problem. How do I go about it? I'm ready to give that information. So even as we ask, like we are asking questions, don't mind what dilemma you are in. Knowledge is power. And we can refer you to the right people, to the right place. Even those who are in the diaspora, you are buying land and you build in the air. It is over now. If you are going to listen to this, it will be over. You cannot just surrender your money because you are here without knowing exactly what are you buying. And if I can give like an example before I finish, as I've told you, I can also survey land. Somebody called me to do to survey his land. A well-known person, a rich person, called me because he had heard about me and I was going to do a land survey in Malindi. And he paid the down payment. We flew because he had money. So we flew to Malindi. So as I told you about mapping, you have to have a map so that when you go with that map on the ground, it will agree with the information that is on the ground. What is on the map must measure what is on the ground before any surveyor do a survey that is genuine. I go to the land, and when I measure the coordinates, they are falling in the sea, and we are standing on the land. He tell me, this is my land. And I tell him, I have a map. And when I put these coordinates, see where they are falling. This man could not believe it. I told him, you know what? Unless you get another surveyor, I cannot survey this land that is in the water and lie to you that you have land. So what do? I advised him either to go back to whoever sold it to him, and I returned the money he had given me to survey because I didn't do the survey. And later on, it really helped him because he realized there was no land. Yeah, so all these things are a few examples that I'm trying to give you to show you that I have really been in Survey of Kenya, and I know what people go through. Yeah, so now with any question that you may be able to ask around there, but we will be dealing with a topic, every topic, as as we move, because we are going to deal with what are you supposed to do with this, if this is this, what are you going to do with this, if this is that, because we want you to be in Africa 24, like every day. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. That is loud and clear. And to our viewers, this is a wonderful moment. It is one of the opportune moments that rarely comes for you to be able to get all this information for free. Just imagine you only need to take your time, switch on your TV or your YouTube or your Facebook and listen. Nobody is charging you. Bora kuna internet na siku hizi pia kuna zile hotspot. So we are dealing with the first issue, like we are trying to understand what are the benefits of unlocking land potential in Kenya. Then maybe from that we'll be able to know some of the main challenges and opportunities that maybe are involved when you're trying to unlock the land potential in Kenya. So I'll go to Reverend James, maybe if you have something that you can tell us about the benefits of unlocking land potential in Kenya. Based on the age, you're the only uncle remaining. You must know the benefits of unlocking land potential in Kenya. You must be somebody with some experience. You must have benefited from it. And what are you going to tell, like, the people who now call you uncle? Why is it important to unlock land potential in Kenya?
Well, I have to start by unlocking myself. So I've just,
yes, exactly.
I've just unlocked myself.
That's great.
That you can hear me.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Bana Coordinator. And that's very true. I've gone through so much, and I'm still doing so. And my father had 3 wives, and that's a big family. We were all 17, all of us. And you can imagine that from a home with 9 brothers and 8 sisters, I am the only one, and my sister that I follow, we are the only 2 remaining. So we have close to 85 nephews and nieces and everywhere else. All those people are people who desire to have land. And in most cases today, when you go to have issues like my sister Florence has said, to report about the issues, you are referred to the chief of the area. And the chief, first of all, the question the chief asks you is you're talking about your grandfather's or your father's land, and does the chief know him, or so on and so forth. And one of the questions that the chief asks is, if you are the grandchildren, is there any of your uncles left who is the custodian of your grandfather's land. And those are some of the dilemmas I get. You know, part of the reason why people are fighting and killing each other is because of lack of information. Now, for example, I have some of those that calls me uncle, and they want to know how can they have a piece of land that belongs to their fathers, who are my brothers, The first thing they ask is when did the owner of the land, when did he die? That is their grandfather. They don't even know. The only person who would know such information is a person like me who is still left alive. And do you have a death certificate of the owner of the land? If they don't know when he died, how would they know where the death certificate is? So some of those beginnings are very, very critical when you have somebody that is still alive. And now people are fighting because of the issues that they cannot unlock in the family itself. And so I've gone through these issues. And I am surprised how much I also don't know that my sister Florence, I wish I knew her before. Or maybe by the beginning of those latter years, because I would not have struggled with the issues I have struggled. One of the things that in talking to her, and she's going to talk about it, she told me about, is something called green card. Now, here in America, green card is very important. You know what went through my mind? I have a green card, which is American. But she told me, no, I'm not talking about the green card in America. There is something in the land, something called a green card. And I didn't know anything like that, and so forth. So my advice, one coordinator to this, is that we have an expert with us, an engineer who has been there, who has gone through these issues. Now, what I'm going through now with my people who call me uncle has been very smooth, just because I'm alive. But on the other side, I seek information for those things that I don't know. So what I could advise people who are on our audience that are here is, first of all, know that land is critical. Right from the biblical times, the Bible says very clearly that this earth is the Lord's and everything that is in it. The Bible speaks a lot about land so many times. Do you know even the Bible speaks about land disputes? It's very clear. The Bible speaks about responsibilities of us having land and dealing with it. And we have ignored many of those. So I'm advising everybody that is listening. A cohesion in the family will make land issues easier. A cohesion in the family makes it difficult and even results in death. This information that we are giving here will resolve some of those. Those are some of the dilemmas we are talking about. Leave about the dilemma of not, you are in America and you don't have papers to return to Kenya. That one is not as bad as people killing each other for the sake of land. So as the uncle here, I would advise that we listen carefully, ask the right questions, and we want to thank our sister for availing herself.
Thank you so much, Engineer. The ball is now on your court to take us through all these secrets, the benefits of unlocking land potential in Kenya. As you give us also, as you get the benefits, there are also challenges that people pass through. Apart from the opportunities, there are also challenges that people pass through. And with those challenges, with your 30 years expertise, you'll be able to give us some of the steps and the processes that are involved when somebody wants to unlock land in Kenya. So the time is yours. Our viewers are listening, they are watching, and they are keenly learning something that is going to help them so that we can be able to avoid some of the pain that people go through, so that we can be able to stop blaming the government each and every time, because whenever there's pain, whenever there are demolitions, you find that people blame the government, and the government also try to maybe make some political gains out of it, whereby people will be politicizing it. So in other words, there are people who are just waiting for such opportunities so that they can become more popular and get opportunity to be given some leadership positions that they are not going to perform. So if we listen to this kind of counsel keenly, I think we'll not be able to give an opportunity for people to come and deceive us, pretending to be solving the issue when maybe indeed they are advancing or maybe worsening things. Having in mind the current situation happening in the Kirima land, that is Njiru, Choka, some parts of Kasarani. We've seen, so you don't know who is helping, because the people there are also helpless. We are seeing politicians coming saying this, the court is saying this, the Ministry of Land is saying this. So people are left in limbo. People are so confused. So people are currently listening to you and they want to know the benefits of unlocking these opportunities. And somebody has also asked you, what is green card, Madam Engineer? So I know you'll be able to respond to that.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate your moderation. Just like Mr. Njoroge has just said, these land issues have made people die. Why? Because of the lack of that information that we've just said people don't understand. So the benefit of unlocking, actually, it's understanding. I am in this dilemma. How do I come out of it? I have this issue of land. Like now what Mr. Njoroge is talking about succession. And if quickly I can say about the green card, the information that Mr. Njoroge is asking about, the father had, before he was alive, he had that land registered, and the land was registered in his name. And this information is in a card that is green. So we call it a green card. And this is a very sensitive document that Survey of Kenya store. And when you go to the land registry, that's where you can find this information. So when you are doing a search, they go and check in that green card. They get which information is there. It says about the owner of the land. It says about the acreage of the land. It says about when, or if it was bought, or it was an ancestral land. It gives the details of the information, that green card. So if somebody has died, like the father of Reverend James has died, that green card is still owning the name of a dead person. So it has never changed. So if today Mr. Njoroge decides to sell land and they tell someone that he's selling land to give that person a title, that's not a genuine title, because the green card information still is reading the name of the father. So that's what we are talking about, green card, which has got all the information that has to do with the land that you are purchasing. So if someone knows about what is a green card, then you are unlocking your dilemma, because you will know where is the information of the land that I'm looking for. Where is the information of the land for my father? Where is the information that I need that will enable me to know if I'm buying a genuine land? because once you get a green card information, then you know who are you buying that land from. And that's why in Kenya, you can, Mr. Njoroge can buy land, the moderator can buy land, I can buy the same piece of land. And we can be given titles that look like they are titles, but they are maybe from River Road, because the green card has not changed. So when we talk about the benefits of unlocking, once you know that I need to have information from a green card, you have unlocked something. You have known that now I will not buy land if I don't know what is in the green card. I will not do succession without knowing who owned that land. I will not get a title that doesn't have genuine titling information. And so the benefits that when you know about all this, you are able to buy genuine land, you are able to do succession, you are able to know the steps of getting land that you want to buy and a genuine land. And when you know all this, you will know the steps that you can follow and you will never go wrong, because all this information is in land registry and you can reach. And once you know what you are doing, once you know information, when you go there, you are not fumbling. You are saying, this is the information I want to know. Who is the original owner of this land? And then after you have unlocked that, then from there, you can go to a map. What is the map saying? Because you can have a green card that has got information about Reverend Njoroge, but then when you go to the map, somebody has tampered with the map, because that is the map a surveyor used. A surveyor can use a map that is already not amended. So all these things that we are talking about, that we are going to unlock step by step, it is giving you information to understand if we have this type of land, what are we supposed to do? If our issue is a dispute in the family, maybe there's a brother who has like 2 acres of land, and you also have 2, but he wants to move the boundary so that her land will be bigger than yours. What are you supposed to do? Because you have to unlock this issue. Before long, you start quarreling over that. Which information do you need to know that he is overstepping? And what are you going to do to solve the problem? Instead of killing him, you come up with a solution. So that's where we are.
That is loud and clear. I think with viewers, you've been told what a green card is. And from today, I've learned something new. It is not only that green card of America that people scramble to apply for each and every year, but we also have green card within us. So as we are going for green cards in America, we are also leaving back green cards in Kenya. And I think you've also touched on something to do with the succession, whereby you have to transfer this land from the initial owner, maybe to the siblings or to any other person that is buying it. So maybe if you can just give us some of the process or some of the steps that are involved when you want to transfer this land, which kind of transfers do we have? Because I've heard you talking of something called the succession. I think it is a different one. And maybe somebody also want to sell a land that is under your name and you want to sell it to somebody else. So how do we categorize these transfers and how are they done?
Thank you. What Mr. Njoroge, the situation, I will give example, what Mr. James Njoroge has said, that is succession.
Yeah, that is good. And you will also have to buy him some water for using him as an example.
Yes, I will make sure
easier.
After this show, I will make sure we use Cash App here in America. So I'll make sure I Cash App water, you know. What his case is succession. And when we talk about succession, they must have a death certificate of his father. Take that death certificate of his father and then take, if there is a title for the father, which of course should be there for the whole land. So have that and the death certificate, and get a letter from the chief to know, the chief should know whether that is his father or that is somebody else. So the chief will write a letter that for real, Njoroge is a son of so and so. And then he will get this to the Ministry of Lands, the lands registry, and apply for a search. A search is when you go to know that what is in the green card, is it agreeing with what is on the title that he is carrying? So that search they will print. They will not give him the green card. They are going to print a paper that this is so and so, this is so and so. And if this is agreeing with the title deed that he has, then he take these documents together with the IDs of the interested parties to a lawyer. And the lawyer is going to do some report and send it to the government press. It may take 2 months. It may take 3 months for them to put it in the Gazette. So we call this gazettement. They put it that this land is for so and so, and in case there is anybody who is arguing about it or somebody who has a dispute about it should come up. So they put it in the Gazette, and then when the Gazette comes out, the lawyer will take it to the court. And then in the court, then they will call all those grandchildren and whoever is interested in that land. And then they will say, we agree that our uncle is the right person to divide this land. And then uncle will be given a letter of administration. And this will be sent to the Ministry of Lands. And they will, then from the Ministry of Land, the uncle will get a surveyor, and the surveyor will go to the land, and the portions they want. If one wants 2 acres, another will be given a half acre, another will be, I don't know how big that land is. Then you will divide those portions, and then now they will be processed a title. Each of those grandchildren will have a title, and then the original title will be surrendered. That title now is not working. Now, the information of each of the grandchildren, they will create a file with a green card having their names. So if it is Mr. Nyabaya, who is one of the grandchildren, you will have a title, and all the information in your title will be in a file with all the documentation of the piece of land you have been given and with a green card. And then after that, then you will do what we call map amendment, because if you go to the map is showing the entire land with that one title of Mzee. So when you go to the map now, you do the map amendment whereby Mr. Nyabaya will also be shown on the map, because they will draw another map whereby they are going to divide this land and show every piece of land. So that is the complete procedure of succession. So that is what.
Wait a minute. That is so elaborate. You're making it so simple, because I know, and I'm also having a question to Reverend here. I know.
I have
apart from being a reverend, I know he is also invested in real estate, and he might have been a victim, he might have been duped, or he might have been cheated or conned, whichever language. I'll come back to you. So before I come back to you, engineer, I just want you to come up. Maybe you've made it so simple, and it sounds so simple. I have to admit that I'm also supposed to undergo through a similar process, having bought land with somebody. The person is old, about 60 years old, but the land is still under his father's name, the father who died. But the person selling me the land is his son, who is 30 years old. So 30 years old is selling land that belongs to his father, who is 60 years old, but the father who is 60 years old had never changed things to his name. But the people we find on the ground make it appear so complicated, yes. Something that might take years And when you go to the lawyers available, they tell you, okay, this thing is so complicated, but if you have this a certain amount, you know, the language that is spoken in Kenya, I can make it simple. So if you don't mind, just for my viewers who are joining now, just tell us, just a summary of you get a letter from the chief, you attach it to the title, you go to court, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's, I have gone every step she has told you. And now I need to tell you where I am. And I think that's the best place. We have gone all through those steps. In fact, the chief was given the death certificate in an envelope. But before that, did you know, with all the nephews and the nieces, the children of my brothers and my sisters, I had to get an ID number for each one of them. And you know how scattered we are. Some are in Mombasa, some are in Kisumu, some are in Eldoret, some are in Marsabit. And I had to get all those IDs, numbers zao. Na wengine wanasema, why? I don't want to give my ID. Mtafanya nini nae? Mtafanya nini na hiyo ID? Ni shamba ya mzee, guka, the old man. Maybe so I went through all those. The way Florence has explained is smooth and it is very clear, and you'll not face those questions when you have done all that work. In fact, we never even got to a lawyer ourselves. When we got all those information and we got it to the chief said, you guys have done so well, I will do the lawyer's work. I will just go and present this information. It's so clear. All of you have cooperated. Do you know now where we are? We got the death certificate, and he got the letter, and we got it there. Then we got to the lawyer. The surveyor. The surveyor came, and we have all agreed that our land is going to be divided in 3 portions because my father had 3 wives. So we have decided to be divided into the 3 portions of each wife. And then the children who belong to the first wife, they will decide what to do with the land. The children of the second wife, they will decide what to do with the land. The children of my mother, who was the youngest wife, will decide what to do. Now, we got the surveyor, and now even surveyor had big beacons. You call them beacons, right? The surveyor has beacons on that land on how that division will be done. Now, all we are waiting now is the fee that is required, which we have been told what it is, so that we can get the titles. But there is that smooth thing if you have help and if you have the knowledge, so that you are not conned. Some lawyers will come and tell you that is so complicated, and because of course they want to be paid, and of course know that a lawyer is not dealing with one person. You might be the 50th or the 40th person that he is dealing with. So imagine the delays that are there. So work very well with your chief, and these things are going to go very well. So we are where now we are just waiting to get the titles. And I'm telling you, all those steps that she has said, I went through them as an uncle. My sister is not able to help me. She's very sick, but I did the job. And I'm doing it from here. In other words, I have to take ndege, ninakuja nyumbani, and I do those things and come back here.
Now, Mr. Moderator, I have a question to Mr. Njoroge.
Proceed.
Yeah, because kuna kitu tunaita kushitaki kifo. kushtaki kifo, sijui kama mlifanya hiyo process ya kushtaki kifo, because hiyo kushtaki kifo ndio hiyo lazima iende to Nairobi in the government press
Kabisa.
for gazettement.
Yes.
Then you get a gazette notice.
Yes.
Then that notice will take some time to see if somebody is complaining about that piece of land.
Kabisa.
And then now you go, the lawyer now is to mediate you to the court, so that now the court will ask, are you all in agreement?
Yes.
And then now the court will write to the Minister of Lands and then give you the letter of administration. I don't know whether you got the gazettement. If you got the gazettement and then you went to court, then that is how, that's perfect. But if you only stopped at
we went to the court straight.
You went to the court straight.
Yeah.
So you don't have a gazettement.
We got to the gazettement.
Okay. Okay.
But we went to the court straight because the chief took us there.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Those are good steps, and as you tell the viewers, it's not hard. And also, what I want to say is that our lawyers, they are also very helpful. Though maybe sometimes the way just you talk about the Ministry of Land being like, is a wreck. Yeah. That's also we put our lawyers, but they are lawyers who can genuinely help you. They have they show you the steps that you are taking. They are able to direct you, so that in case of anything, you have some written official documents that you can be able to say, this is what I have, and you can be able to use it. Otherwise, that is the procedure of succession.
Exactly.
That is great. That is
a buyer who is buying a land from that 30-year-old man, if he has not done succession, he will give you a fake title, because you will, at the end of the day, you will get that title. But when your children grow up, even if it will be 30 years from now, it will have a question, and he can sell that land to another person.
And in this forum, we have lawyers that we know that are very genuine, and lawyers that are lawyers that can be very, very helpful. And Florence knows, I know some, and who have been very, very helpful in this area. That's why this forum is critical and very important.
Thank you so much, guys. It's really great. I can see people are asking questions. Wengine kama mzee Pen Nyagaka ameamua maswali hataki kuuliza pale, aingie aulize moja kwa moja, ndio isikue ni aliandika na sisi tukasoma vibaya. Karibu sana Pen Nyagaka. Namuona Tent Palace anauliza huku ni wapi bado kuna stima. Tent Palace huku ni Afrika. Afrika kote hakuwezi kosa stima. Stima kuikosekana Kenya, hapa Afrika tuko na stima. Tunahakikisha kuwa kazi yetu ni kuwapa mwangaza. We are enlightening you. That is why hata topic ya leo, debate ya leo ni ile tu ya kuwaonyesha kumekuwa na giza katika hii mambo ya land sana. Sasa tumeamua kuangaza na kuensure kuwa we bring light in the darkness. There's been darkness in the land issues, so we are just lightening it. So mahali kuna taa hapa ni Afrika. Karibu sana. Edward Onesmus is saying this, and maybe I'll just note it somewhere. What happens to the initial green card once the land is subdivided? Is a copy attached to the new green card, or it is destroyed? Maybe to help you and to save time, this one had already been tackled. Initially, once the initial green card the land has been subdivided, we've been told that we are having new green cards. If it was one under Leo, and Leo's land has been subdivided to his 5 children, then we are going to have 5 new green cards, and a new map will have to be drawn. So maybe as we move on, namwona Nyagaka nitampatia nafasi aulize swali, na baada ya kuuliza swali, kuna swali pia liliulizwa hapa. Somebody was asking what are some of the, how do you call it, the land types of the land ownerships in Kenya. So maybe hapo pia utaweza kutuambia kidogo, which types of land ownerships do you have in Kenya? We've always been hearing people talking of community land. This land belongs to government. This land belongs to I don't know what. So as we proceed, you'll also be able to tell us much about that. Karibu sana, namuona Black Hat, lakini Black Hat ningependa tu kuomba kwa unyenyekevu you put on the video so that when you're asking the question we answer somebody that we can be able to see and hear. So kwa wakati huu wacha nimpatie our senior Pen Nyagaka. Huyu ni mzee wetu, ameshinda akitulea hapa na kuturekebisha wakati tunakosea hapa kwenye ulingo wa siasa. Lakini nikiona wanasema penye wazee hapaharibiki maneno, najua akija hapa ataleta maswali ambayo yataweza kutuelekeza sisi kama vijana. Karibu sana Pen.
Asante sana leo Nyabaya, asante. Sasa nilikuwa nauliza ngaki baba Murambi yole, nilikuwa nauliza maswali mbili. Kwanza, Amora, kwa nini shamba Kisii iko bei ghali kuliko any part in Kenya? Hasa Nairobi tumenunua hapo, lakini Kisii ni bei ghali sana. Number one. Number two, Mora, mzee wangu alifariki 2000, akapatia kijana yangu shamba, lakini sija transfer the title. Na we have step brothers, have brothers, lakini ni kitambulisho gani ninatakiwa nitoe alafu hiyo shamba ikae kwa kijana yangu? Kijana hatatembea nyumbani, ako medical school hapa America, lakini hiyo shamba yote mzee alinunua huko Bobasi, lakini akaachia kijana yangu. Asante sana leo. Hiyo ndio tu maswali mawili nilikuwa nauliza huyo mama Mora.
Asante, nafikiri naweza jibu.
Unaweza jibu.
Biande. Land in Kisii, I think the Kisiis are the most populated compared to most tribes in Kenya, simply because of our tradition, our culture. Our culture, we always have to have a house home. A home is home. Even if I'm in America and I must have a house in Kisii, home. Even if I have a house in Nairobi, I have a house in Kisii. And that has made the population to grow very fast. Unlike most of the cultures of the communities in Kenya, some of them, someone goes by in Nakuru, another one will go to Eldoret. So at the end of the day, the population is not very high. So when the population goes high, the demand goes high. And when the demand goes high, the rate goes high. And that's why mostly the land in Kisii is very expensive to purchase. Somebody knows you have to, because you want the land there. So you have to. So that is a very contributing factor to our land being expensive. So if we can learn now and know that maybe we can tell our children to buy land also in other places where there is space, that may help so that the demand will stabilize. But not that if I have to, like I have two sons, if they must have a piece of land, I have to buy, because maybe the land which their grandfather has cannot be enough, or the father has is not enough. So I think that is what has really contributed to the expensive purchasing of land in Kisii. When I come to your son who was given land by the grandfather, and the grandfather, I believe, is no more, he died. You are going to follow the same procedure because you are the father. So you are going to get this land into your name, and then you are going to give this land to your son. Your son cannot succeed your dad. That is the grandfather. He cannot. So you have to be the administrator. Even if you are going to give the whole piece of land to him, you have to be the administrator. So that you change the name from your father to you. I mean, like you administrate to you, and then when you are an administrator, you give that land to your son, and then all the information now will be corrected to your son. Otherwise, you cannot jump that space. You cannot, he can't get it direct. Yeah, so that's how I can answer. I hope I've answered your question. And in case I've not, maybe you can let me know where you don't understand or where it's not clear.
Murad, this is not ancestral land. This is land that he had bought somewhere else. So the procedure is still the same. He had bought the land. This is not ancestral land. This is a land he had bought somewhere else.
Yes, but because he was your father, that land cannot go from him to your son. And because he's not alive, if he could have known, he could have transferred all the documents when he was alive to him. But because now, because the court, he will be asked, because he has to do succession, he has to get that land by going through the courts. So he will be asked, is this your father? And then he say, no, this is my grandfather. Where is your father?
That's great, Nora. Just to help Pen, I did hear you before you started by explaining that when Pen's father bought the land, actually the land, he got a title that was under his name. So the green card there is not reading the owner of the previous owner, but is reading Pen's dad as the owner. So that's the green card that is there. So for this land to be transferred now, it has to be transferred to Pen Nyagaka's father's next of kin, which in this case, Pen Nyagaka is the next of kin, or maybe if there are some other siblings or Pen's mom or something like that. So it will has to be transferred to the next of kin, who is Pen. Then Pen now can transfer to his son. There's no way your son can be a next of kin to your dad. If I think it is something like that. So guys, you have to keep it here to ask your questions, na maswali jinsi unavyouliza ndio zinajibiwa. Wacha tukunywe maji sekunde moja, then we proceed.
Thank you very much, Mura.
Karibu.
So where are you based in Kisii or in America or where?
In America.
Okay, state
in the Delaware.
Okay.
All right. It's clear. If you joined initially at the introduction, all that was said. So I just said a question that I asked. Engineer, I don't know if you, sorry, not engineer, Reverend, I don't know if you still.
Bwana Coordinator, can I follow up on what she just said?
Yes, please. That is what I wanted you to do.
Actually, it's a question to Florence. Whether the system, like here in the US, you have to be a son of so-and-so or a daughter of so-and-so. The procedure here in the US, by the Constitution in the US, is if you have to go to the courthouse, if you are a child, you have to go to the courthouse and show that you are son or daughter of so-and-so to be able to become what they call here RP, responsible party. In other words, also responsible party means I am the administrator of my father's properties or my whatever it is, properties. Now you can, if that person is dead or that person is about to die, then you'll be able to administer the estate of your father. Now, the procedure here is very clear and very, very clear and very short, because you only need to go to the courthouse and prove that, and then you are given responsible party position. And that's great. In Kenya, how is it done?
In Kenya,
administrator or a responsible party.
In Kenya, that is why you go to the chief, because the chief will write a letter and say so and so and so and so belongs to so and so and so, and then you will have agreed who is to be the administrator, because you will tell him and they will write that.
Exactly.
If you want your younger brother, like you, if you had a younger brother, there's no problem. Whoever you choose,
Yes.
And it's only that we give respect, like us, the Kenyans, to our elder brothers. But in case maybe our elder brothers is not able for some reason, you can give even to a younger brother so long as you agree.
Exactly.
So when you agree, the chief will write that letter. And when the letter goes to court, you will be asked, are you all in agreement? And you say, yes, we are all in agreement. James is going to do it. Then you are given a letter of administration.
Exactly. I wanted to ask that question so that, because that's where people are killing each other. Because sons and brothers are now sisters, as per the parliament that passed it, that even sisters are supposed, even if they are married, they are supposed to inherit their parents. So that's where people are killing each other. And that the advice that is coming in, if you don't want to choose one to be the administrator of their father's estate, then you can choose, like in my case, my father had 3 wives. So instead of just me being the administrator alone, they chose from each wife 1 person, from each wife, and all of those 3 are the administrators. So they are now the administrators of their grant with the advice, and me, I am the senior administrator, right there as their uncle. So some families can come together and agree, even when it is not 1 person. So that's the advice I wanted to ask that question so that we can give that advice. If people are saying huyo hatuwezi kumpatia administrative, mwizi huyo, au atatunyang'anya shamba, choose 1 or 2 in the family to become the admin, so that they can check each other, or 3, because 3 is an even number. If 2 agree and 1 of them is out, haiwezekani. They have all 3 too. So families can even choose 2 or 3 to be administrator. Thank you.
That's true. That's true.
Thank you. Engineer, there's a question there. Goodyear is asking, I know of a situation where by the grandparents left a big estate to his grandchildren, but now their parents are selling the estates to them. So how can this be solved smoothly? And I think smoothly, I don't know what he means. Smoothly is without involving violence or what?
It's like the parents are selling this land to the grandchildren. They want the grandchildren to get this property by selling to them. I think that's how I understand the question. When the grandparents died, if they left like a will that this estate will be for our grandchildren, that's only what can help them. If they did not leave a will, just the way you said that the next of kin is their children. So these parents are the next of kin. So they can do to this land what they want, because they are the next of kin. And although they are really very unfair, if I was the grandchildren, I cannot buy. I better go and buy another place, because that's really unfair. And this is an ancestral land, and they are the ones who are supposed to get succession and then give to these grandchildren. Because if they don't do succession, they are the next of kin. Even if they are selling this land, they are just selling it, and yet they are not giving the right documentations. So the smoothness may not come in here, unless now also they go through the mediations, whereby these parents can be talked to, that they will never go with this land anywhere, and they should not create bad blood with their children. This should be really an amicable way of talking to them. Otherwise, if there's no will, it's not like, it is like, they have to get that land.
One of the things, Pastor Florence, you want to speak about, one of the topic, maybe it will come because of this question, is you have worked with the mediators. You have worked with mediators in your work. Who are those mediators and how can they help?
Mostly when we talk about mediation,
Are there activists and other people like those? Yes.
Yes, we have the human rights people who are able to get the background information, like from the old men who are around wherever the estate is, who know all about this land, and they can be able to get maybe like a religious person. They can be able to get any of their uncles who may be positive, and then they sit to talk and show them how it is not good for them to sell this land to their children. And this land is an ancestral land. And I think with that, if they are talked to, and then maybe the chief can come in, some people can come in that can be able to talk to them. So we have that, the Office of the Human Rights. It really helps. It really helps to come up with solutions of things that are so hard. Thank you, Mr. Njoroge, for reminding me, because we have even one of us who is a contact person. I've worked with him very closely. He's based in Nyamira, but he goes all over the country, and he's really helped us to get ground information, which he can easily give to the lawyer, and the lawyer can use this information to help. So these are some of the mediations that can be done, and then things can come out so that they get information which will help for any decision to be made. So if like you require such people, we have contacts. We can be able to link you so that you can be able to talk to them, and they can be able to really guide on what is the best way, because they deal with the rights, human rights. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm really grateful for our visitors for taking your time and answering these questions, and engaging our viewers who are also interested in knowing much about unlocking this land issue. And you know, when we told them that on Sunday we are going to tackle unlocking land issues, people are really asking, how do you unlock? Is this land locked? And I think by now, as we are moving on, people are getting to understand that there are so many things that have been locked that needs to be unlocked. So maybe one of the greatest questions that people keep on asking, and everybody will ask, I just want to ask it directly, is how, if I want to buy a land, do I know a genuine land? How will I be able to know a genuine land? Like I just see, because you know, most of the land they'll tell you a genuine land ni ile bado ijajengwa, ni ile haina fence, you know, such like things. How do I know a genuine land? Are there a way I can just see land and say, oh, this is genuine? Or is there a way that before you even proceed to paying deposits and making some processes, I'll be able to know that, okay, this land is genuine, and if I engage in it, the process is going to be successful. So maybe you can try to enlighten us that, and you also tell us the
put it plainly, Bwana Nyabaya. Put it. There are so many companies now selling land.
Actually, there are so many companies selling land.
Kuna land Malindi, hata tutakupeleka na ndege. Kuna kuna land pale. So how do you? I know.
And initially,
I
we used to believe that anything that is advertised on TV or radio is genuine. Nowadays, we have the comedians, the people we believe in, the people we trust. They're the ones who are advertising this. We have the media or the television and the radio presenters. They're the ones who are leading in advertising these lands, and the brand ambassadors. So how do we know which one is genuine? Maybe you can tell us that.
Kabisa.
Because already we have defined some terms, I know they are going to help us, like green card. When you want to buy a piece of land, get to know, does it have an original title? Or if land has ever been titled, you can get all the information that you want.
Florence, I want to stop you right there. Sorry, Bwana Coordinator. Now, this green card, how is it easy for me to walk into the surveyor's land or land and say, I want to see my green card, or I want to see the green card, ndio nijue hii land ni genuine. How cooperating are the staff in the surveyor or survey office or kwa land kwa kwenda nione hii kweli hii green card inasema vile nimeambiwa?
When you have the original title of the land that you want to buy, you apply for a search. When you apply for a search, the person that is applying for a search must say who is that person, give the ID, and then nowadays you can apply even in the cyber and pay around 500 and wait for around 3 days. I don't know how it is, but before I left Kenya, that's how we were doing it. Actually, I was among the people who put together how we can put it online. I was in the secretariat that was digitizing information in the really first time so that you can be able to do a search wherever you are. So you put this title.
This is before you buy.
This is before you buy. Whoever wants to sell you the land, ask him, do you have a title? If he has a title, you say, can I have a search? Because he has to use that title and then apply for a search, and the search will be printed, and the search will contain the green card information.
Na akisema hapana, siwezi kukupatia.
Kama hawezi, basi hiyo land hataki kukuuzia ama iko na shida.
Yes.
Kwa sababu akikupea, akikuambia hakuna, think twice. As much as he may sell that land very cheap, think twice. If the person has got only an allotment letter or a share certificate, that's not a title. Because he cannot sell to you and then give you a share certificate and tell you that is land. That is someone who is not doing the right way, because that's not the right documentation. So the first thing that you need to know before you buy any piece of land, does it have an original title? We call it mother title. However big it is, however which company is selling, there is no company that is supposed to sell a piece of land if it doesn't have a mother title.
Na
Because they sell,
kama ni mother certificate.
no, there's no mother certificate. There's only a mother title.
Just a question on that.
Yeah.
I get you, a mother title.
Yes.
For you to get this title, you have to do a land search. So this is a question that maybe you need to clarify to us. Who should be doing this search? This search, the buyer or the seller? For example, this company is buying land. They always have their map. I've seen one in Jiru in Nairobi. They'll show you this is the title, inaanza hapa, inafika hapa. So who should be doing this search? Is it you who is buying or the person who is selling? I can see Stella pia ameingia, wacha nimkaribishe yeye pia pengine ataweza kutupatia maswali. Hii topic na kuambia ni moto, inashika kila mtu. Hata watoto unasikia wanalia, wananyang'anywa, waliachiwa shamba na babu, watu wanachukua. Stella, karibu sana. So swali ilikuwa kwako, engineer. Who should be doing the search? Is it the buyer or the seller?
You know, the seller is the one who has got the title. But you, the buyer, you are the one who is saying, I need to see what is the search saying. Because there's no way he can print his own search. The search must come out and you must see that information, whether it is agreeing with the title that is showing you. And if it is these companies which sell land, and you are buying land from a company, know where did this company get this land from. It doesn't matter how big they are. They have to show you the title, the mother title of that land, because that land belonged to somebody. That land was not in the air. It belonged to somebody. And who is this somebody? Because we have believed these companies and our people are suffering because of these big companies that can sell even to 100,000. Then when you hear that it's only 100,000, you run there. But then they are making money with that 100,000. Then you build a house of millions. Then after some time, even it can be 20 years, your house is like you have no document. Then you say I have an allotment. Allotment means you are just given a letter to show that you have that piece of land. That's not a document recognized in the Ministry of Lands. So if they have all those information and they tell you they are going to process for you titles after the subdivision, and you have done such and you have known, then now you will know, okay, this land, I know it's genuine. But if it's a piece of land you are buying from somebody, it may be for sure that land is genuine, but that land has not been done succession. Don't buy a piece of land which is in the hands of a dead person, because you will never get to, even your children will suffer, because you will never get this information if you are not the next of kin.
Thank you. That is clear. Na maswali bado yanazidi kukuja, so let me just also tell our viewers that die to public demand. We are not going to stop here. They normally say little knowledge is poisonous, so we cannot give you little knowledge then leave you there mwende mwangaike. Tumewapatia clue, unaenda kuuliza tuliambiwa kuna kitu inaitwa green card, then somebody tena na kuuliza consultation fee. We'll ensure that next Sunday we also have at the same time, at the same place, we have this kind of discussion so that we will be able to touch on some of the things that have not been touched on, to respond to the questions that the experts have not responded to, na zile zenye tutakuwa tumesahau ama what will have emerged by that time. So as I welcome Stella Wangare, maybe to say or ask one or two questions. Kuna swali pia hapa utajibu, utaunganisha na Stella alafu uyajibu pamoja. Edward Onesmus is saying, but on several occasions, land search does not reflect the real owner of the land. Two such records can show different owners. So what could have happened whereby you have that you do different search on the same land, same title, but they show you different owners? Having worked in the Ministry of Lands for 30 years, you must be able to know what happens behind the scene. And now that you are not there, I don't think it is harmful telling us what happens behind the scene there. So maybe you can just respond to that. Then we welcome Stella. Naulize maswali, alafu tuendelee.
Is it me responding or I wait for Stella?
Can you wait? So it's you to decide. Do you want to wait?
Yeah.
All right. Stella, karibu. Unmute. Najua umekuja na kelele, umekuja na haraka sana. Okay, you're okay now.
Yeah, engineer, nice meeting you. And also Mr. Njoroge. So to add on engineer's part, I've also worked in the legal profession. This is what I really advise people. If you know that you're buying land, one thing, and it is very certain, you have to do a search. It doesn't mean that one search will be enough. You need to get also another person to do a search so that you see if the search is matching. Number two, you also need to understand when you're buying land, you have to go do your due diligence, knowing whether that land has a legal title, or maybe it has some indication of maybe its government has marked either there's a road going passing, or maybe it's something which is near a road reserve, or also there's this thing we call riparian land. If your land is, if you buy a land which is like where there's a swamp which has been notified, where that's where the source of water comes from, you know that that's a red flag for you. Then also note that if someone who's trying to making you that you hurry up to buy that land, you need to think twice. Number one, I know I've seen people, or especially Chama women, who really, I know they really try to get engaged buying land so for their security, for their future, for their children. They would go to a lawyer's office or get someone who can able to sell for them land. Then hurriedly, the vendor starts harassing not harassing, starts, I mean, like hurriedly asking for monies and everything. Please note that whenever you're doing your due diligence, you have to know where that name, whatever it is in the title, matches with the ID and the PIN. I repeat again, if that ID and the PIN does not match, do not purchase that land. Number two, if you know that you're being hurried
Stella, I think I'm losing you. Can you people hear her?
No, I think
Oh, all right.
network.
I know there is a network problem, and there is also there is no electricity, so I don't know what is happening. But as she refreshes her browser and gets back, guys, I have to say that I'm happy today. This has really been a wonderful and a successful show. When I just thought that Stella is coming to ask questions, I forgot that Stella is a legal expert. She's somebody who really advocated for the rights of actually the privileged. She's done some pro bono services as far as legal department is concerned. So it is good. This thing involves everybody. Yeah. When you talk matters of land, you will be referred to go and get the area chief. If the area chiefs are not there, like those people who stay in town, they'll ask you to go and get your reverend or your pastor or your bishop, because these are people who knows you better and can give some recommendations. And apart from that, you'll also be sent to a lawyer. So Stella, being a lawyer, is here also to give us how they operate. I'm glad she is back, and she'll be able to answer some of the questions that people have also asked. I know there are so many people are saying that, when we go to lawyers, they charge us too much, they do this, they do this. So now she's here. She'll be able to tell us that part. So as she's trying to join back, I think we can proceed. Engineer, there is a question that was asked here about having two such records showing different owners. So what happens? I think that there is a problem at the Ministry of Land. If maybe you can know something about it.
Yeah, as Stella was actually talking about doing like repeating, and this is actually because of corruption, because corruption is in all levels. And if for sure you will get like a search, if like you get one search, it's reading this, and the other search is reading, that's also a red flag to know that what do I follow? What is there? And when he was talking about land having issues, legal issues, we call it like encumbrances, a land that is attached to some case, a land that is like a title maybe is attached to somewhere. This search will tell you this land is free, this land has this land has that. But because of the brokers, because of the middlemen, because of the interjections, that's why if I know, like maybe I know my title is not genuine, maybe there's what I will do to make sure I get a search, but that search is not really a genuine search. And although that is not, it's not really very, very common, especially when you are keen, it's not really very common, but it happens. And that is because of the corruption that is in the Ministry of Land. Because I've been there, and I can assure you, if there's a place that you will meet brokers and you will not move, I don't know whether when I left Kenya things have changed, but it is not long since I was in Kenya. But those people who stand on your way before even you reach the registry where you are supposed to be, unless you pass through them, you find that you get into the wrong hands and you get what they want you to get. So as rightfully as Stella was telling us, make sure you are like confirming and reconfirming, and if possible, send someone to the ground to go and touch the ground and know that this is the area, because you are going to commit your money. So why should you be in a hurry to commit your money instead of taking your sweet time to be sure? And somebody tells you, come quickly because it's really hot cake. Hot cake, and you have not done the research, it will backfire. Yeah, so those things are there, and because of corruption, and we have nothing to do about it, but it's just to advise you, be keen. When you see those two differing, take another step back and again see what next, because that's not the only piece of land that you need in Kenya. That's what
I think we also need to remember the example that Florence gave, that here she is as a surveyor, and when she's looking at the map is in the sea. The land is in the sea, and the land she is supposed to survey is not in the land. It is in the sea. So something was done over there. So I think it's a genuine situation to do your homework before those things are done. Take your time. Even if there are other people asking to buy that same land, take your time, save your money. People have lost a lot of money and so on. And sometimes some of those people competing you, they could be politicians also, who have other ways of going around the situation.
So that's really great. I really do appreciate. We've really tried to tackle some of the questions that were pressing. At least I can say we've managed to unlock the land issue in Kenya. And those people who thought the land issue in Kenya was never locked, they now realize that there are so many things that were locked. And it just took these experts that you see on the studio, that is Engineer Florence Mora, who is a geomatic engineering and geomapping specialist. We are having Reverend James Njoroge, who is also the head of Kenyan Mission in United States of America. Both James Njoroge and Engineer Florence Mora are in the United States of America. But it is worth noting, despite the fact that Engineer Florence is in America, she served in Kenya for a period of 30 years. That is only 15 or do I say 20 years of retirement. So all her prime energy she used serving the entire country of Kenya. So whenever we see people who are outside the country, they have given their services to their country, and we need to appreciate that. And it is really a good thing to see that somebody who've given themselves to the country, they are still miles away from the country, but they still think of the country. They still have to come and tell us things that people who are within the country cannot be able to tell us. Die to one or two reasons. Some people fear that if they speak them, they might be vindicated, they might be victimized. If they speak, they might lose their job. So it takes you to get out of the country so that you can be able to say something that is going to help the people you left behind. Sometimes you have to run out of the forest so that you can tell people the secrets of the forest, and that is what is happening right now. If I look at my watch, I can see we still have some 5 minutes. I would really like us to continue till morning, but the time could not allow us. So I can see Stella has managed to join. So Stella, kindly, if you can proceed, just proceed directly. Stella, you can proceed. All right, so as maybe I think people do have some challenges with joining, so it's normal. Would just like to take this opportunity just to thank everyone for joining.
Let me ask
Yes.
a question. A quick question.
Ask a question.
Is the forum being recorded?
Yes, the forum is being recorded. Actually, for those people who did not manage to see it, to watch it, you'll find it on YouTube. It is there forever. It won't be deleted. You can find it on Facebook. And we will ensure that we replay it as many times as possible so that it can reach as many people as possible.
Thank you.
Because for these people, we believe that the Bible tells us, ikifika ile siku ya hukumu, watakuhukumu na yale maandishi, watakwambia kuwa iliandikwa hivi. Je, ulisoma? Sasa hapa ikifika hiyo siku utajihukumu mwenyewe. Engineer Florence alisema hivi, lazima ufanye due diligence. You do a search again and again. Did I do that? Then that video will remind you. So I'll have to do this within the 5 minutes that we are left with. I'll give each speaker time at least to give some winding remarks or some closing remarks, just an advice that you can tell people as far as land is concerned. Maybe if you have an experience, that will be okay. Then the rest, we will continue with it on Sunday, that is next week, God willing. We'll still meet here and we'll be able to talk until our people will unlock themselves totally, until we'll not be hearing people complaining, people crying, and people being sent away at the middle of the night because of mistakes that they would have avoided. So I'll start with Reverend, if you can just give us a closing remarks. And after this, you are attending some memorial. I also wish you well there. I wish you peace and some comfort from the Lord to be with you. And I really appreciate you taking time to be with us at this particular time, besides your busy schedule.
Oh yes, it's been a hard weekend. Today is December 10th, and that's when my last born son, who had just turned 30 years, was killed by hit and run vehicle when he was closing the road. Not that he was carelessly closing the road, he had the right of closing the road, but all the other cars were stopped, but one person did not mind to stop, and that's how he got killed. So today, me and my daughter and my granddaughter, we are going to where that accident happened. We'll be taking some flowers there and pray together, and sometimes some other people once in a while join us, and just in his memory. However, I wanted to close by saying that this program is not just going to end up online here. Eventually, we will have an office in Nairobi. People who would want some physical consultation, they'll be able to meet somebody there that they can physically talk to genuinely, somebody who will be able to talk to them, take them where they need to go. Sometimes because of hysteria, and sometimes I've had some of our people say, I can't go to those offices because I know, like the other office or the others, they will not listen to me. Or today's in Kenya, nobody want to listen to you. Somebody that can be able to comfort and encourage you or go with you to that extent, or give that advice. So we'll be very soon be looking for that kind of an office in Nairobi. Number two is to say that urge people to subscribe to this forum as much as possible. I have a big following here in the US that I'm reaching out so that they can be able to get into the forum and be able to subscribe. And my background is in this kind of things with the missions. I've worked with several different big organizations like World Vision for many years, Food for the Hungry International, WGM, World Gospel Missions. Some of those organizations, even here in the US, like the Appalachian Project programs. So I've been involved in those kind of missions, and that's why that is my line of ministry and work. So I'm so glad. I want to thank my friend, Florence, for agreeing to share information. Some people put that information to themselves. They don't want to share, and then, but thank you for willing to share. I want to say to our leader here, Nyambaya, you are a very good leader. and you're really capable, kind, and have really led us very well. And we want to thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. We really appreciate and we welcome you back. And we know we are going to have this program. If not weekly, people will want it to be weekly if possible. I know we are going to make plans, and it's also good news that very soon we'll have an office in Nairobi where we can reach physically and get assisted. You know, there's so many questions that people are having that if you start typing, they'll not be able to type them all. But if they come physically, they'll be able to power themselves. So let me give it to Engineer Stella. I don't know if you are connected now. Kindly confirm before we proceed. Okay. Ni kustruggle hii Kenya, hakuna kupumzika. So engineer, you can proceed.
Pole sana, tunashirikiana, tuko pamoja. Yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity, and I can say we have only tackled like only succession. That's mostly where we have dwelt, but we have very, very good background now, where we have laid a foundation that next time when we continue, we'll be able to understand. And one thing that I want to finish with is that let's not put the burden on the president that is the one who has sent the bulldozers. It has to do with something like in the lands, because even if he wanted to stop it, there are things it cannot stop because the owner of the land has already identified that you bought it illegally. And so is the person to bring the bulldozers. So he might not have even consulted the president. And when the president see that whatever is happening, he might not be able to stop it. Because how does he stop it? So let's be careful and let's do things in a way that will not make us to blame. Because always when we do maybe things not in the right way, when things backfire, we have to get someone to blame. If it were not for so and so, I could have not been this and that. But let us now learn and be able to be helped. We may not do 100%, but we can be somewhere. Thank you so much. I appreciate. And I know that we are going to have more information and we are going to be helped as much as we can. Even Stella, you can know in absentia that we appreciate you so much, that you are in the legal department, and here together we are going to be a blessing. Thank you so much. I appreciate.
Thank you so much. Stella, can you be able to join? All right, my viewers, I think I just have to thank you. I need to appreciate you for taking time to listen and to learn and to ensure that you unlock the land dilemma that is in this country. So this is something that has really frustrated many within the country. This is something that have made people be bankrupt. We have people who've been depressed, and we have people who've even lost lives because of the land issue. And if you can get the right information at the right time, then you can be able to prevent depression, you can be able to prevent deaths, and you can also be able to prevent wickedness that we have within the country. So keep it here each and every moment that we have an opportunity to bring experts to discuss matters that are going to help us to change our lives. We will not hesitate and will always do that. So ensure that you subscribe to Afrique Diaspora TV so that whenever we go live, you will always get informed. And if you missed this one today, I have to tell you that it was so informative, it was so blessing, and ensure you go and revisit and watch once again. So the video will still be on the YouTube or Facebook. So whenever you get your time, go through it. If there's a question that was answered and you did not get it well, maybe because of time, then you can listen and listen and listen each and every time until you get to understand. If not so, wacha tukutane hapa Sunday. Specifically, we will be discussing matters land, matters succession, matters of buying land, and how to register and know genuine land in this country. And we are also going to expand it, and we'll also be able to get some legal advice and some legal assistance on how you can unlock the land that has disturbed you for several years. And for those people who normally join our daily talk show, I can tell you that we are back and we will be live tomorrow discussing the matters of Kenyan politics. And don't miss tomorrow's, those people who join the morning show, whereby we normally have the newspaper review. We are ready to give you the review, tell you the newspapers. So don't miss it. Keep it here at Afrique TV. Goodbye and see you tomorrow.
Tunasonga mbele watu wote wa Jamhuri Kenya yetu. Tunasonga mbele watu wote wa Jamhuri Kenya yetu. Haya sisi sote wananchi tushangilie. Kwa Jamhuri, kwa Jamhuri, sote kwa Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Kwa Jamhuri, sote kwa Jamhuri, kwa Jamhuri Kenya yetu yaenda mbele. Mwaka wa 60 umefika, tangu Kenya iwe huru. Mwaka wa 60 umefika, tangu Kenya iwe huru. Haya sisi sote wananchi